Hey everyone, it's Samani. I'm here with the co-creator, co-owner, CEO of King Soul's podcast, the mental health podcast where we help you get over any trials, triumphs, and everything in between. Today we kind of wanted to switch things up, and we kind of oftentimes we see the CEO Rex here interview other people, but we thought it'd be fun to finally have somebody interview him and kind of like peek into his brain. So for once, we're gonna treat him like any other guest, and he no longer has CEO title. He is just a guest on his own podcast. So we're gonna see how this goes. So Rex, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Well, hey guys, my name is Rex Shege. I am the owner and founder of King's Tales. And what King's Tales engulfs is we have a podcast series. We recently launched Mentored, which is targeted at helping men overcome, pitfalls associated with trauma and move them towards progressive pit stops towards progressive purpose. So it's kind of weird being interviewed, but we're gonna see how this goes.
Oh, 100%. And I think that there isn't any other better person to interview him besides like the kind of executive producer, social media person. So I think it'd be fun. So I think that I kind of want to start with like icebreakers.
Yeah.
To like, because I know you obviously, but I want to get the audience to get to know you.
Yeah.
So my first question is, if you had to delete, if you could only keep 3 apps on your phone, what 3 apps would that be?
Why would he ask me that question, y'all? Whoa. Oh man. Well, are we including like the base apps that are?
Would you classify the base app?
Like your messages, your call app, Are you including that in the 3?
We can keep the base, like we can keep all the apps that come with the iPhone, but like any social media, gym app, whatever, like which 3 would you only want to keep besides what comes on your iPhone?
Okay. Well, I send a lot of emails, so I'm definitely gonna have to keep Gmail on there. Instagram for sure, because that's where not only do I stay connected with, our potential guests or interviewees, but I like to scroll through and watch memes. I'm not gonna lie. Like
a little doom scrolling never hurt nobody.
Absolutely not. And that's something that, I might have to take a little step back and chill out on, but not right now. So Gmail, Instagram, and definitely YouTube. I am a huge YouTube guy. And when it comes to it, I feel like it just keeps me connected with the world. Like I watch some of my favorite streamers and their highlights on there. I can watch game highlights. Yeah, it's a lot.
Are you somebody that likes to doom scroll the YouTube reels?
Not so much the reels, but like I will definitely go like on my subscriptions and see who just recently uploaded, and I'm definitely gonna binge watch.
Solid answer. I respect it. So my next question to you is, if you could only listen to one album forever, what album would you listen to?
Gosh, bro, he is asking crazy questions right now.
And if not one, I'll be nice and I'll let you pick 2.
Okay. All right. 2 albums that I would just listen to forever. Oh man. Jeez, bro. Man. Really making me think here. Well, I'm not gonna lie. Amber Mark just dropped her most recent album, Pretty Idea, and I've been obsessed with that. So that's definitely going down as number 1. Okay. Number 2, I'm a huge Goldlink fan. And it's really hard for me to pick out of all of his works which one I would probably listen to and repeat the most. But I'm gonna have to go with the most recent one that he dropped, Enoch. So yeah, Pretty Idea and Enoch are the 2 albums that I probably would.
Okay. So I'm giving, these are like R&B artists. Are you like an R&B type of guy? Are you like a dance guy? Like what is like, I guess like your genre that kind of fits your perspective of life?
That's a hard question because like I feel like I'm multifaceted. So like I'm always constantly listening to different genres of music, and I'm always like, whenever I select a song, I just kind of let Spotify do its thing and shuffle through and give song recommendations. Some days I'm in the mood for house. Some days I'm in the mood for R&B. Some days I'm in the mood for hip hop. Or honestly, most recently I've been really getting into sexy drill. So like Cash Cobain, Cash Cobain. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking right now? This is crazy.
I know, but I like it's that like it's like the music you would hear in the club.
Oh yeah,
Like
yeah, 100%.
like the New York City club scene music, or
Yeah,
like when you go to like a lounge and it's like they call it like Alfredo music.
yeah, right. Exactly that. Exactly that. Yeah.
Okay.
So it really just depends on the day. I'm definitely multifaceted, and there's definitely some days where I just wake up in the morning, all I want to do is listen to gospel music. So it really just depends on what type of mood that I'm in.
Of course, that makes total sense. Okay, so I know that you're a busy man, CEO of King's Tales. You do mentored. You have a 9 to 5 that pays for the 5 to 9. So you're given one day to pamper yourself, one day to really like disconnect and really take care of the inner. What does that day look like for you?
Okay, so I'm actually glad that you're asking this question because I was thinking about it on the train right up. One thing that I've really gotten into recently is like I've been kind of obsessed with like going to the nail salon
Okay,
and like
okay.
getting my gel manicure. Like it's super like relaxing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like just gives me the time to like turn my brain off and like not talk about anything. And don't let me be sat down in a chair with someone that likes to yap because I'm a yapper, and then we'll just talk the whole time, and then before
Yeah.
I know it, like I'm done, and I'm still trying to talk to them. So that's definitely number one. Um, I really enjoy listening to music.
Okay.
So I haven't gone recently, but like anything concert or music festival related, like that would definitely have to be included in that.
Okay.
Um, and I've recently kind of gotten like back into gaming again.
Okay.
So like maybe anything where I can just like again turn my brain off and like
Mm-hmm.
play video games for a couple hours. And yeah, yeah, I'm a pretty simple guy. Like nothing kind of crazy. I'm lying. If I'm doing a self-care day, I gotta take a trip. Sorry, it doesn't matter if it's a day trip or like if I'm catching a flight. Like I gotta go
You're gonna
somewhere.
leave.
Yeah, I gotta get up out of here. So I'm currently living in Delaware. Some days, some weekends, I'm just like, bro, I gotta get out of here. Sorry,
Yeah,
you know.
I've experienced going to college
Like,
there. Definitely a little mundane for the early 20 something person that kind of just wants to explore, and you kind of have to like travel upward and
yeah, early
outward
20s.
to like DC, Philly, New York to kind of really get like a fun like 20 something experience. So I definitely do get like wanting to leave Delaware from time to time and like just like, all right, peace out, guys. I'm done.
Yeah, right. Yeah, early 20s because I'm 24.
I'm screaming. Don't lie to them. Isn't your birthday coming up? Don't lie to the
Oh my
people.
gosh, yeah, let's not talk about that because I was kind of panicking the other day because a couple of my old classmates reached out to me like, oh yeah, so we're trying to plan this 10-year high school reunion, and I literally had a crisis. I was like, we graduated from high school almost 10 years ago. What's going on?
You graduated from high school almost 10 years ago.
Can we not? All right, let's move on to the next question.
Okay. Okay.
Start dragging it.
So, I feel like we kind of had a lot of fun with the icebreakers. I think now let's shift it to the more like, I just can tell you a little bit more personal because I feel like we've been friends for like a good 5 years, if not more. And I feel like I know a lot about you, but I feel like our audience members, our people that watch our podcast, the people that are subscribed on both Instagram, YouTube, and soon to be Patreon, don't really know much about you. So I feel like it'd be fun to kind of like just get to know, I guess, the basis of who Rex is.
Okay.
So, what was your childhood like?
Childhood? Oh,
But
man.
what was it? Well, let me be more specific. What was it like growing up in Boston, Massachusetts?
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, all of you guys this is probably new for everybody. So I was born in Melrose, Massachusetts, to two Kenyan parents. And I was the firstborn child in the family. So just for all of my firstborn boys and girls out there, y'all know what it's like being the oldest. So there was definitely a lot of expectations, especially like when my siblings started to come around, and I had more cousins that were being born. So there was a lot of expectations. But I enjoyed Massachusetts for
Okay.
the time that I was there. So first 8 years of my life, I was there. Melrose, Lowell, Worcester. Those were like the main 3 areas that we lived at. And then my dad got a state job, and we ended up coming down to Delaware.
Okay.
So yeah, it was fun. I like to go back and visit sometimes.
Okay. What was like when you moved from Massachusetts to Delaware? I guess like what was the biggest change that you experienced?
I feel like I was still young enough that like I wasn't like so deeply rooted in like my friendship group back home. So it wasn't hard for me to like jump back in and make new friends.
Mhm.
But culture shock wise, it was just really different compared to Massachusetts. Like, probably the main thing was the population size. Like,
Okay.
it was definitely like going from a classroom with like 50 plus kids, and then now you have like 20 or 25 people in a class,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh wow, this is different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably say it was the biggest thing for 8-year-old me at the time.
Oh my god, so you were like young when you moved.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay, so like I feel like I feel like after the age of 8, I feel like that's when like the social skills are kind of like fully developed, and I feel like you make more friends as the older you get.
yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
hmm Yep. So
Okay, cool. Were there any like moving to Delaware? Do you feel like you kind of had to like well, I know that you were 8, but do you feel like there was a sense of like being able to like reinvent yourself at 8 years old?
not really. Like, I was pretty cut and dry. Like, I was, again, because of those expectations that were set by my family, but mostly my dad. I had a very strong-willed father. Um, I was more so just focused on being the best student I could be. So getting good grades, showing up, asking questions. And fun fact, I was a huge reader when I was a little kid. Like, my mom really got me into books. So sci-fi and fantasy was like my go-to. Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Twilight, like all that I was reading. And it was crazy because I remember like when I got to 5th grade, they would always have us do like those little the standardized state tests.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember one year like I ended up taking it, and my homeroom teacher was like, you're reading at a 12th grade level. I
Oh,
was like,
period. Oh, we love to see it.
I just like to read. Like,
Yeah.
so that was kind of like my passion. And if while we're on this topic, like
Mhm.
my discovery of reading like really developed my passion for, anything related to journalism, authorship,
Mhm.
poetry especially. Like, I think that around that time, 5th, 6th grade was when I was really starting to like get into writing,
Mhm.
like for real. And I kind of almost was using it as an outlet because
Okay.
I don't want to get too far ahead of myself in
Yeah.
the interview, but like it was definitely like a way for me to escape from a lot of the things that I was dealing with at the time. So poetry was like my way to like really like fully like express myself, and it was fun.
Well, it's
Like,
good. Yeah. Poetry is meant to be like an outlet where you can express yourself, and it's like a no judgment free zone, and it's like it's almost like a therapist without being a therapist, because
oh
it's
yeah,
like you're writing your feelings down to yourself and nobody else, but then like with therapy you're talking to another person, obviously, but it's a very different perspective with that, and it actually leads into my next question. So how do you feel like your childhood shapes you to be the man you are today?
oh, great question. So growing up, there was, just based off of the culture that I grew up in,
You're
not
Kenyan,
only,
right?
yeah, right.
Hmm.
So not only dealing with the cultural expectations of being a Kenyan man, but
Hmm.
also the cultural expectations of being a black man in
Hmm.
America.
Yeah.
It was around the time that like, for the first time, like being exposed to seeing what really goes on. Like, I remember being in 8th grade and the Trayvon Martin stuff was going on.
Okay.
And that was like my
Yeah.
first time being like introduced to what like, you know, dealing with the social injustices in America,
Hmm.
being a black man. I was like, oh wow, this is crazy. But I sidetracked there.
It's never a sidetrack.
The cultural expectations, I was always expected to, be a leader and be a man that don't talk about my problems, and you're here to be seen and not heard. So
Yeah.
like I kind of developed a lot of maladaptive tendencies. Like, I would just be like, oh, I might have went through something really traumatic, but I'm just
Hmm.
gonna keep on trucking and
Yeah.
focus on what's ahead. And it wasn't until like I kind of got like older, like high school age, that I started to realize like, oh, I can't really ignore this stuff anymore, because it it it,
100%.
bal- it
It ballooned.
it ballooned, and I was just in a place where I was like, uh, I know I feel bad, but I don't know who to talk to or how to talk about it.
Hmm.
So I'm kind of just gonna keep it to the back of my mind.
Okay.
Um, and it started to present itself in like, I guess, bad bad behavior. Like, I would have like angry outbursts, like, and I was like
Okay.
really irritable all the
Yeah.
time. And because it was something that was always portrayed in the mirror, I thought it was normal.
Yeah.
And then I remember one day I got into like an argument with one of my friends, and like I felt really bad, and I was like, okay, I know that there's something wrong. Let me try and figure out what it is.
Yeah.
And I remember like actually reaching out to like the counselor on campus and well in high school, and she was like, well, and then that's when I started to figure out like what it looked like to actually start
Okay.
doing the inner work.
Yeah. Do you feel like, because I mean, being a Kenyan black man is very different than being like I don't see like traditional African American man, because they're the same thing and essentially.
Yeah,
But do
right.
you
We're all
feel
part of
like
the diaspora.
there was a lot of pressure to be like this ideal perfect, like what was growing up, like what presented itself as being like a man, like what did a man look like to
Mhm.
while being Kenyan?
Yeah. Okay. So, great question. For me, it like in my mind, just growing up, like my dad was well, I'm not gonna say was, he is my like superhero.
Hmm.
Like, so I always looked up to him. Like, he always showed me the importance of handling your business, doing chores around the house, helping your mom out with anything. So like in my mind, like I was the way it was portrayed to me, like a man is someone that provides, protects, and uplifts and supports other people. So seeing that, like I kind of developed that, and I was like, oh, I always felt like I had to help other people,
Yeah.
even at the cost of my own like mental well-being.
Okay.
So like I kind of would put myself at the back burner because I was so focused on prioritizing others.
Hmm.
And then that kind of turned into perfectionism
Okay.
with a side of people pleasing.
Understandable.
Yeah. So I kind of like found myself in some very compromising situations as I grew older,
Okay.
because I was so focused on trying to help other people that I wasn't helping myself.
Yeah.
And that's something that I realized that another good thing that makes a man is when they're able to take a step back and take care of themselves.
Mhm. Do you feel like having that sense of people pleasing and always helping, always like being a perfectionist kind of hindered you with like your emotional development as a
Oh,
person?
yeah, absolutely. um, there would definitely be certain instances where when I finally did start opening myself up to like dating and relationships, like not being as emotionally available for
Mm,
like my girlfriends at the time, and not being like vulnerability has probably been one of the biggest things that I struggled with,
okay.
because in our household growing up, like yeah, we would talk about stuff like how our day went, but we never like went deep.
Okay.
So like vulnerability was one of those things that like I didn't really know how to navigate, and it definitely showed in my earlier relationships. And it wasn't until like I got older that I realized that vulnerability isn't like a sign of weakness.
Yeah, of course. Never.
Yeah. So, and that was probably like the hardest pill for me to swallow, because I was like, why am I opening up to you if I feel like you're not even gonna be receptive?
Yeah, that's definitely makes a lot of sense. Do you feel like your vulnerability compared to then to now is a lot better?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I will say this: yeah, a huge contributing factor to that has been my relationship with God.
Amen.
And he showed me how important it is. Like when you're dealing with a lot, and you don't. Sometimes we don't know how to handle
Oh,
situations,
100%.
and we lie to ourselves to
Yeah.
tell ourselves that we can handle it when we really can't. And so being in a place now where I can literally just, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, where I'm at, like I'm just, and I keep it so real with God. I'm like, God, I don't know what I'm going through right now, and I don't know how to deal with this. Can you just show me, can you give me some wisdom on how I can navigate this? And like, it might take, no, sometimes the hardest part is when he's quiet and he doesn't talk back immediately, but like eventually you'll get the answer that you're looking for. And that's helped me out tremendously. And that's honestly made me more willing to be vulnerable and open
Okay.
up and talk about stuff. And it's helped me to heal my inner child.
That's amazing. When did your relationship with God start, or like when did it begin to grow, to flourish more?
So funnily enough, like when I was growing up, we were very, very much Catholic. So like I did communion and went
Mhm.
through like all the classes
The very typical
yeah,
Catholic
the Eucharist
lifestyle.
and all that stuff. Yep. And I went to church, but like I
Mhm.
really didn't have a relationship with God. And
Okay.
like so I really started to like taper off like the tail end of my senior year of high school.
Okay.
So like when I came to college, I was off the walls. I was just doing anything. But it wasn't until like I had dealt with depression and anxiety sporadically throughout my teenage years, but it really got to a breaking point when I got to college. And that's when like I was starting to really engage in stuff that I had no business doing, like drinking and smoking marijuana and just being around other people that were broken and also being broken and not addressing the elephant in the room. And I remember one year, like I had a really bad depressive episode. I didn't leave my room for a week. And it was like the week before finals. So like I was supposed to be studying. And I was not doing that. Like I was just in my room. I was barely eating. I was barely drinking water. And it got to a point where I was like, you know, I at the time I was living on the second floor of the dorms. So I remember like opening my window and just looking outside of it. I was like, I wonder what would happen if I just jump right now. And like once I had that like moment, I was like, yeah, I think I need to get help.
Yeah.
So this was honestly the beginning of my mental advocacy journey and also the beginning of my walk with God, because when I went to the wellness center on campus, the counselor in the office, shout out to you, Miss Liz, she was really deeply rooted in her relationship with God. And that helped with me opening up and talking about the things that I went through. Because again, it was growing up, I was always constantly told, you know, don't talk about your issues and
like stay in a child's place almost.
Yeah, like almost like that. And I cried a lot when I was a little kid. So like there was I don't even know what compelled the older people in my family to call me this, but I was known as Crybaby Rex for like the longest time.
Don't feel bad, because I'm a crybaby as an adult. Do not feel bad.
And it was so crazy because like I went to like a family event, like literally. It was a couple months ago for a baby shower. And an aunt that I hadn't seen in years was like, oh my God, it's Crybaby Rex. I'm like, I'm 27 years old now. And that's something that you guys used to call me when I was 6 or 7 years old. It was insane. But back to the subject at hand, like when I was going through like therapy, that kind of like reintroduced me to God. And then in 2019, I found my home church. After I spent the whole summer going to different churches around campus, like just trying to find somewhere that felt like home. And I remember the very first time that I stepped into my home church, I was like, oh, this is the place. I found my home. I found my tribe. And that they've have helped me tremendously, especially like my leader, with not only setting a sound foundation, but also getting really comfortable with God. That's what's led me to where I'm at now.
Also, if you want, you could shout out your home church.
Oh yeah, shout out the City of Refuge Church Incorporated in Milford, Delaware, 1 Northwest Front Street. If you guys need a church, we have service every Saturday at 12 p.m. Hoping to see y'all there.
Amen. You know, shout out to them. I met a couple of those people there. Great people, fun time. They really about their business and know the kingdom of God. So shout out to them. You know, with your journey of your mental health throughout college and, you know, just, you know, your suicide attempt, if you would like to call it that, is that what led you to wanting to create the podcast? Because, you know, if you go down to the podcast, scroll down to 2021. That's when the first video was uploaded, but in the bio it says 2020. So what kind of propelled you to want to create the podcast?
Okay, so I mean, as everyone knows, what happened in 2020, that pandemic absolutely derailed a lot of things, and it transitioned my therapy sessions fully to Zoom. And I had started writing back. I started writing again around that time. And I remember like telling my therapist at the time, and she was like, you know, you do a really good job. And I would share like some of the stuff that I write with her.
Yeah, of course.
She's like, you do a really good job at writing stuff down. I want you to do a better job at verbalizing it. And I'm not gonna lie, she kind of gagged me. Yeah, she definitely gagged me there. So I was like, okay, how am I going to verbalize this? So what I started doing was like, I just started hitting record on the voice memos on my iPhone, and just talking, rambling, yapping, because that's what I do best. And through those like yap sessions, I kind of like started watching more podcasts on YouTube because they were becoming more popular then. And I was like, I don't see any other Black men that are out here that have a Black like mental health podcast. And I was like, I think that's going to be my niche. So I brought it before my therapist. And she was like, well, that sounds like a great idea, but what I want you to do is pray about it first and see what God says. So I did. Didn't hear from God for a whole week. And I was like, oh, well, I guess this is not going to
It's a
happen.
chop.
Yeah, no. And then I remember I literally was having one of my Yap sessions, and I remember distinctly like that. I never cried before, like when I was recording, but like when I was done recording that session, I remember crying and getting the confirmation, like, this is what you need to do, because the same release that you're getting, imagine someone else listening to it, they can get it too. So everything that we go through, we don't realize it at the time. It's not for us.
Yeah.
We suffer so that we can help someone else succeed. So, yeah, that's kind of what led me to the King Stills podcast. And that was back in 2020. I officially started recording episodes in 2021. And here we are. It's 2025, going into 2026, and still going strong.
Amazing. Good to hear that. We've having a podcast for 5 years, going on 6. Have you experienced any like aha moments when it's like, this is definitely what I need to be doing, and I'm glad I made this decision?
Mm-hmm.
Or have you experienced? Well, it's twofold. It's a twofold question.
Yeah.
So have you experienced an aha moment of like, this is definitely where I need to be? I definitely need to continue to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And also, have you ever felt a moment of defeat and that like you should cancel the podcast altogether?
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with the latter half of that question first, with the defeats, because what people don't tell you when you start a business, you know, they always have that statistic. Most businesses fail within the first 5 years. What they also don't tell you is how unprofitable it is. Like, you spend a lot of money investing into your business and you're not seeing returns, and you're like, okay, well, what's the point of doing this?
Yeah.
So you kind of actually almost have to have a heart and a passion and a drive for it.
Of course.
Because if you don't, you're just going to be like, okay, well, what's the point? I'm just going to throw in the towel. But then one thing that has always been a constant reminder for me is remembering that this isn't just for me. Someone else is out there that's in a similar position that I was in, and they don't feel like they're good enough to, like, you know, just talk about the stuff that they've been through. And so that kind of like has motivated me. And going back to the aha moment, I think I know for sure this past year, with all of the content that we've done, it's really brought me out of my comfort zone. The in-person interviews, the actually finding a studio space, the paying for the studio space, the recording the reels or doing vlogs, or just putting myself out there has been really uncomfortable, because I'm a very private person, as you know. And yeah.
I'm just gonna elaborate on a little more while he's coughing. When I joined in as his like friend, I didn't know what he wanted to do with the podcast. Like, I know that he had a podcast. Then I joined in, and then I started like really like pushing him out of his comfort zone, because I knew that like I saw his passion in this, and I just wanted to replicate that same passion for him. And I wanted him to like be able to experience a lot of greatness with this podcast, and with what we're doing with Mentored and everything in between. So that's why, like, a lot of the time you always say like it gets you uncomfortable being out there, but it's also been helping us be put into a lot of good positions with being out there.
Yeah.
And it's hard being a public facing person for a company, but also I feel like if you don't step out of your comfort zone, will you ever? I don't say like we ever be truly successful, but like,
where's
you have
growth?
to be, there is no growth. So you have to step out of your comfort zone. So as your friend and co-producer on the podcast, I'm very happy to see that you stepped out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And even agreed to do this, because I thought you were going to tell me no, but he happily told me yes. So yeah.
Shout out to the power of pivoting, for real.
100%.
Yeah. You gotta be willing to pivot if you want to be prosperous, because there's going to be a lot of times where you run into roadblocks or things just not working out. And you have to be, you just have to be mobile on your feet and figure out a way to, you know.
I don't know what you just did, but yes. And I feel like a lot of time with pivoting, you kind of just have to think fast. Like, I feel like with pivoting, you can't wait on something. You have to like, okay, well, what do we do? Option A, option B, option C, option E, F. So I feel like being able to pivot is also amazing. Because I think also by the time you guys might see this episode, it might be 2026. So we're kind of looking at this as like a recap of this past year and like what we look forward to in 2026. But it's another question about the podcast. I feel like you've had it for 5 years. What made you want to transition from doing it? Because I remember in the beginning, strictly through Zoom, strictly through like FaceTime calls or whatever, to then switching to doing in-person interviews and getting like live reactions and having people come and talk and build that sense of community.
Well, I think that kind of falls back into the getting out of my comfort zone thing. And I think once I realized that COVID wasn't as much of a big thing anymore, I could kind of like take the risk of actually, talking to people in person. And plus, I feel like there's more of a genuineness when and authenticity when you're actually face to face with somebody
Of
because
course.
you can actually read their body language. You can see which questions are landing, which questions aren't
Yeah.
landing. And I feel like the conversation is a lot more natural flowing when you're in person. So that was definitely what pushed me to do it more in person. So
Good to hear. And also like having a studio space local to you because you are in Delaware and that's a little far to find other like local spaces. So being able to find a studio was also great too.
oh yeah, like and a studio that has recording equipment that has lighting because I think that was probably like the biggest issue when we were searching, like finding someone that was credible that has all of the stuff that we're looking for. It was challenging, but
Yeah.
when we finally did lock it in, I was like, okay,
It
we
was a
found
fun
it.
transition. We spent a lot of time
Ugh.
looking for studio spaces that were local and also affordable because again, like you said, like it's a one band, one man, one sound show. So funding isn't our specialty, but we will always put our best foot forward for the podcast and we will always like invest in it because I feel like what we invest in and we get back tenfold with the guests that we meet and the stories that we are told and like meeting different people from walks of life and just seeing how they feel about different things. It's always amazing.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I know we were talking about the doom and gloom of how you have to pay for a majority of the stuff when you're starting out, but like one thing that I will say is along the journey, God literally has provided like all the resources. So
Won't he do it?
won't he do it? Because there were definitely some times where I'm like, bro, how am I gonna put the money together for this? Or how am I gonna put gas on my car to travel up to the studio? And somehow, some way, someone will reach out and be like, hey, you were on my mind. Here's like $40. And I
Yeah,
would use that for gas to get up to the studio. So like everything happens for a reason. And God is literally working everything out in your favor. So create a plan, put it before him, and if it's meant to be, it'll be.
he'll do it. With having a podcast, we talk a lot about men's mental health.
Mhm.
Do you feel like with it being, in 2025, do you feel as though men's mental health standards have changed from growing up to being a full-fledged adult in trying to conquer your own mental health issues?
Oh yeah, 100%. I definitely do believe that from generation to generation, like my my dad's generation didn't talk about mental health nearly as much. My older cousins who are millennials, they sort of kind of started getting into talking about it. I do apologize. I don't know what's going on with me. Whoa. But and then with us like Gen Z, I feel like there's more access to resources to
Mhm.
talk about mental health.
Yeah, of course.
And a lot of people have platforms to start talking about it. So I feel like we're in the right time to address a lot of stigmas that are surrounding mental health. And just coming against those myths and stereotypes really has put us in a better position. So
100%. And I feel like sometimes you have to be the one, you have to be like the one person in your family to break the generational curse. Do you feel like you're that one person that's going to break the generational curse?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Clock it.
100%. It's already working out that way. And it's definitely one of those things that as I went through therapy, and as I continue to build upon the foundation that I had and forming my relationship with God, it's definitely one of those things that I prayed about with him. Like, can you show me how to be the one to break the curse in the generational cycle in my family? And I know for certain, like as I'm putting in the work and as I'm growing and maturing and continue to stand on that foundation, like God is literally gonna do great things for the generations that come after me.
Of
So
course. So we did mention that we're definitely entering a very interesting era of like manhood, and like a lot of men are becoming more emotionally aware, but also a lot of men are becoming a little more emotionally. I'm gonna use the very polite and political term of being emotionally stunted. And like some men are just grabbing a mic and sitting on a couch and just talking. So what makes King's Tales mentored so different than the plethora of other men's not only just men's podcasts out there, but men's mental health podcasts that are out there?
The main thing that really separates us is the authenticity behind it.
Mm.
Like, bro, there's so many people out here that fake the funk, and you can tell when people are, you know, not being authentic. But like, I've lived it. I know what it's like to go through those things, and I've always had a heart for helping people. So like, if I can even just, if there's one thing that people can get from the podcast,
Yeah.
I already know that I'm fulfilled and I did what I needed to do. So just having the heart for people and wanting to help them out, that's one of the main things that really separates King Sales from everybody else.
Understandable. And then I guess my second question that goes with that statement is, you know, like I said, we're entering an era of time, and like a lot of men, well, I'm gonna categorize it by three things. A lot of men are either becoming emotionally mature, a lot of men are becoming emotionally stunted, and then a lot of men are becoming what they like to call sassy. So I guess what I want to ask you is that, do you think that we're in a sassy man apocalypse, or do you
Oh
think
boy.
that a lot of men are just becoming too emotionally aware for their own good and thinking that they're the prize in their relationship?
I feel with in regards to this, like this has never been my own personal like testimony. So I can only speak from my experience. I knew when I found myself at that breaking point, or just being in areas where I was getting a lot of pushback or resistance, I would always be in a place where I was like, okay, I need to evaluate myself and see like what areas do I need to improve upon. So again, I don't feel like I fit into the other two categories, emotionally centered or sassy, so I can't really speak on it.
Yeah.
But I can definitely say, as someone that has done the work and has looked intrinsically and like tried to pinpoint things, I'm always asking myself like, okay, what can I do to better myself today? And not, as being a former perfectionist, you know, I would always like obsess over my weaknesses.
Mhm.
But now I'm in an area where I'm trying to amplify my strength
Yeah,
instead
of course.
and focusing on the areas of my strengths. So yeah.
Absolutely. Period. I love the answer. I just think that it's always really interesting to ask other men this, because I feel like on social media, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you see a lot of women complain like, "Oh, he was so sassy," and "Oh, like da da da, he thought he was a prize." And I think that to get a fellow man's perspective, especially a man that runs a mental health podcast,
Hmm.
really interesting to kind of hear your view and your perspective on that topic, because I feel like it's a topic that tends to either become a mockery in social media, or like it's a punchline of like, oh, he was a little too emotionally aware. So it's kind
Hmm.
of the matter of like, do you want somebody that's emotionally aware? Do you want somebody that's going to treat you like garbage?
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, I will say this. Sometimes we encounter people who try to over to make themselves like more complex than where they are, or they'll try and speak from a level that's further ahead than where they are.
Okay.
And that can definitely leave a bad taste in other people's mouths. um so yeah, I guess for anybody that's tuning in, that's seeing this type of content, just be yourself. I
Mhm.
feel like in today's day and age, like social media has like created this follower complex, and you feel like you have to follow the trend in order to be relevant. Just be authentic, be genuine. Like, people are going to connect with you more, and it might take you a little bit longer to grow, but once you found your niche, stick to it and people are going to follow you. It's much better when you have a core following of people than to just have 10 million people following you and it's only for a day and then your engagement drops off. So
Clock it.
yeah.
Well, speaking of other like modern man archetypes, do you believe that there's a idea of a performative man?
What do you mean by that?
Like a performative man that's like only doing it to get girls, like the people that wear like, not to be like this person, but the people that wear like the tote bags and
mhm.
listen, drink their matcha and like, oh, I'm a matcha man now, and the people that like are very like soft,
Mhm.
and you know, do you think that that's in acting do you feel like some people are genuinely being like themselves with it?
So actually, funny enough that you're asking that, I have a story to. Good grief. Um, Going back, I remember earlier how I was talking about like I was a people pleaser for quite some time. So a couple years back, probably like my second or third year, being in college, I had joined a fraternity, and I just really wasn't in a place where I was as confident in myself as I am now. So I definitely fell into like that follower mindset, and I felt
Mhm.
like I had to, adapt or adopt, a lot of the toxic masculinity
Yeah,
traits.
okay.
So I was engaging in a lot of activities or believing a lot of doctrine that wasn't really who I was.
Mhm.
Uh, for example, like talking bad about women, or exemplifying alpha male like
Okay.
characteristics. And it really, after a while, like people will start to pull me to the side and like, Rex, this isn't you
This
at
isn't
all.
you, Rexy.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I got a reality check really quick. And if you aren't around other people that can draw you back in, I can see why people fall into those types of archetypes. And it's understandable, like, especially if you're looking to please other people. I guess the question that I would have for them is like, who are you outside of all of that? Like, you need to know who you are at your core. And if you don't know, you got to do some soul searching, go to therapy, pinpoint those areas in your life that you feel like there's a void. And if you're trying a million and one other things to fill that void and it's not working, try Jesus, because I guarantee you'll get what it is that
Won't
you're looking
he
for.
again? Won't he do it? He
Yeah,
will.
every time, every time.
Um, since since we're talking about like archetypes of men, what does we're in 2025 and the man how men describe themselves in 2025 very different than 2010, very different than the 2000s. So what does the modern man look like to you?
To me,
Yes.
well, I'm gonna again just base it off of what I saw growing up,
Mm-hmm.
and what I see nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
especially like when I attend church, my leader, a man is someone that shows up consistently, that cares for others,
Mm-hmm.
that knows when to take a step back when other people aren't valuing them. Someone, it's not a physical appearance. Like, I feel like sometimes people are looking for, when they hear a man, like someone that's strong and tall and this, that, and the other, but like it really does boil down to like their core characteristics. Like, are they caring, are they compassionate, are they empathetic, like are they someone that really genuinely wants to see you succeed or not? And you'll know the difference between someone who's a man who's a leader and a man who's a follower based off of what they
Ooh.
do. And if you watch their actions, though, the actions will speak louder than words. So
Clock it, because you really did eat with that, because I feel like I am a man myself, so
right.
I see a lot of it too, and I see a lot of it happen. So I think that there definitely is a difference between like somebody that's like leading the pack on
Mhm.
their own and being a genuine leader versus someone who's sitting in the pack and that's kind of just like, oh well, they did it, so I think I should do it too type of vibe.
Mm.
And you can kind of see that with social media, because I feel like a lot of times like people kind of get stuck in this act of social media and like acting like life is also perfect on social media, which it isn't. And it kind of like leads into pitfalls of thinking that like, oh well, at this age I need to be successful, at this age I need a car, at this age I need a house. But it's like at this point in time, like everyone's journey is different,
Mhm.
and everyone's perspective of life is different.
Yeah.
Because for example, for you, did you think that at the age that you're at now, being a later Gen Z, do you think that you would have a podcast and have a mental health coaching business on the side as well?
Please. I mean, if you would have told me all this 6 or 7 years ago, I just wasn't in the mind space, and being truthful, and it just didn't have the mental capacity to look beyond what I was dealing with at the time. Like, I was just really focused on just going day by day. If I can get through the day and make it to the next one, that's great. So no, I definitely didn't see myself. But like now, each at the beginning of each week, like on Sunday, like I literally will map out like my goals for the week, what it is that I want to accomplish, how does it tie into like my overarching like yearly or quarterly goal,
Mm-hmm.
and what can I do to make myself 1% better than what I was
Mm-hmm.
the day before. And that's something actually that I learned from well, Corey.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something that he always says, like, how can I be 1% better than I was the day before? And that's a really good mantra to follow, because then you're not overwhelmed or
Mm.
trying to do too many things in one
Of
day
course.
and
Yeah.
like feeling like a failure at the end of it because you didn't
Yeah.
get it done. So if you can literally just work on becoming 1% better than what you were the day before, then you're doing something.
Just to piggyback off, it's a way to like not become a failure.
Oh yeah.
But what advice would you have for somebody that feels like they are a failure and they feel like they feel like they're not at they're not at where they think they're supposed to be at? So
Mhm.
what advice would you give to someone like that?
Oh, listen, I really, especially if you're young, if you're under 35, realize that there's plenty of opportunities for you to pivot. Like I think when you can reframe your mindset and your perspective, and stop looking at losses as failures,
Mm,
but instead as lessons, like when you can like tweak and change that, then you can like really start to like, okay, I might have this might not have worked, but how can I pivot so that I can find something else or find somebody that's further ahead than me, so I
okay.
can ask them a question like, okay, hey, I see where you're at. How did you get here?
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, I was very prideful. Like, so asking for help, I just wasn't gonna do that.
Yeah.
So once I got into a place where I was more more willing to be vulnerable and more willing to ask for help, that's when I started to notice that I was making more progress than I was before.
100%. Do you feel like what do you ooh, I have a really good question, and I think that this is something interesting that I want to hear from you. Being somebody that works on the podcast with you together, where do you see yourself in the podcast in 5 years?
Great question. Um, I feel like everything that has transpired in the past 5 years leading up to this point, if I would have done a 5 year plan, I can almost guarantee you none of this stuff would have gotten done, and the way that it got done. But again, I always try to do things day by day. But if I had to do a goal set for the next upcoming year,
Okay.
um, I definitely want to grow to be more consistent with posting, especially now that I feel like we found like
A rhythm, like a
good
cadence
rhythm.
almost?
Hmm. Yep. Staying consistent, with the interviews, reaching out to new interviewees, people that have stories to tell, and just keeping the momentum going with that. And then also too, like on the mentor side of things, I know that we talked about some plans
Oh,
that I
yeah.
that I have
Can we talk
related
about it
to that.
now? Do you want to get into it?
I guess we can,
We
yeah,
can get
because
into it.
yeah, we can talk
Okay.
about that.
So, King's House is hosting their first ever mental health panel.
Yeah,
Soon to be, we're looking at dates in, let's say, February.
yeah, yep.
February.
Hmm.
We would love to have people come and see what other men's mental health journeys look like, and not in like a podcast setting, and like a TED talk almost setting.
Yeah. Mhm.
So we have that coming up soon, which is really exciting.
Yeah, our
We
first
need to get
event.
planning our first like event outside of scheduling a podcast interview.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We're also going to be working on potentially a Patreon, which is
Yeah.
also really exciting too. But we just have a lot of like moving pieces to work on everything behind the scenes. We just
Mhm.
want to give you guys a little taste, a little sample, as some might say, of what it is to come, because he's being honestly, my friend's being very modest about King Sales, and I don't like that, because I see the hard work that he puts in all the time, and I see him texting me out of the wee hours of the night about King Sales and about planning and interviewing, and I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to go here, I want to go there. So he's only giving out the 1 year plan, but I promise you, somewhere in that mind there is a 5 year plan, and I think that for him, and I'm speaking as a second party looking in, that like I think that for you, I think you just want to be successful. I think you just
Yeah.
want the what in whatever facet that the podcast is in. I think you just want it to be successful because I feel like even if one person agrees with the story, that's all that matters. Like, it's not about the money, it's not about the following. Money is great, following is great. We love a check. Who doesn't like getting paid? But
show me the
it's
money.
not about the money, it's about the stories.
Yeah.
It's about being able to connect with people. It's about like letting people know that like you're not alone. Because I feel like oftentimes with social media, people feel alone. There's like an uprising in suicides because of like bullying on social media and like everything like that. So with a podcast like this, we kind of, well, at least you, well, me too, me included.
Yeah. It's a team effort.
It's a dream team almost. It's about not wanting to be alone.
Yeah.
It's about like knowing that like you're not the only person that's ever experienced this. And yes, our journeys may be different, but our core stories are always the same.
Yes.
And there will always be somebody there for you.
Yeah.
Whether it's through a screen, whether it's through a DM, as to a phone call, an email, there's always somebody out there that's willing to help and willing to listen.
Yes.
'Cause I think that oftentimes in society we forget to listen and we just talk.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, and I feel I'm actually glad that you brought that up because in today's day and age with the social media era, like everyone's just trying to do things, behind the screen, and we miss that face-to-face in-person interaction. And people joke about it on Twitter all the time, like there's a men loneliness epidemic, but like it's true. Like
100%.
I feel like there's a lot of men that feel like they can't talk about their problems, because they don't have access to the resources or access to a community that can help uplift them. And that's like the peripheral, like the main focus that I have going into 2026 for King's Tales, the podcast series, and Mentored, like just creating spaces where men can talk about their mental health and not feel judged, feel included, and just can really just be in a place where they can talk about the stuff that they've been through. So yeah, I definitely do believe that there needs to be more conversations had about mental health, especially as men. And once we're able to do that, I don't care if it takes 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Like this is something that needs to happen because there are people out there that are suffering silently. And as someone that was once like that, I know where you're at. I know what it feels like, and you're not doing it alone. So
trust me, my friend Rex, I've asked someone that's also had like mental health struggles as well, openly, and I've talked about Rex all the time. He is one of the best people when it comes to like letting you know that you're not alone and letting you know that you're going to be okay. And it's very cliche to be like, oh, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, but like 9 times out of 10, you're going to be okay.
yeah,
And you're gonna like not to feel like you're gonna be fine. Like your core is gonna be wounded by what happens, but like wounds heal. And you just like you learn a new thing, you learn that like you learn a new challenge about yourself.
yeah,
You learn that you're a lot stronger than you think.
right.
And so with this podcast, I'm honestly very proud that you created a space like this because this does help people, myself included, to show that like you're not defined by what happens.
Oh yeah,
You're defined by so much more. And your mental health does matter, and it will always matter whether the people tell you around you that it doesn't matter. It will always matter, and you will like. I don't be like you're gonna be okay, but like you're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
because there's a community out there that wants to hear your story, and we are included in that community, and we want to hear your story. We want to know that, let you know that you're okay. So to anyone out there that ever needs something from us, please DM the Instagram, DM the email, because we're more than happy to help. And like we're more than happy to, if we don't have the resources, show you the resources. Because they're in most states they have like community resources that support mental health issues, and they have, I think the National Suicide Hotline exists still. I think it still exists.
Oh yeah, no, it does.
So there are spaces that want to help you succeed because you may not feel like you want to be here, but we want you here.
Right.
We want to see you be here. We want to see you happy. We want to see you thrive. And if it just takes one person saying that I want you here, we would miss you. That's all that matters half the time.
Yeah, for real. Sometimes people just need to hear that. Like that. Because sometimes when you're in those places, you feel like you don't matter to anybody, that no one cares about you, but someone does. And again, like you might feel like you're in a place where you don't you don't like see that. But sometimes you just got to take a breath, look around you, and realize that you have a whole bunch of people that need you here. So, and I think that's something that I was literally thinking about the other day. I was like, wow, I can't believe that at the time, like my problems were so like heavy
Yeah.
and over encumbering that I was like, I don't feel like being here anymore. And now like I'm in such a better headspace, such a better like place, period.
Yeah.
Like a couple and this something like I haven't like really shared, but like around 2018, like I was homeless for a couple months.
Yeah.
So like now being in a place where I'm I have a pretty decent paying job given the economy. I have my own
Yeah.
place, I have my own car. Like things are slowly like building up. And like one thing that we have to realize is God has to kind of give us our blessings in increments,
Oh,
because if we get
100%.
everything all at once, if we're not going sometimes we're not mature enough to handle everything. So like you have to get like little bits and pieces, and you're gonna suffer. Like
Oh,
that's
100%.
inevitable. Like if you want to be successful, you have to suffer. Like it's a part of it's the name of the game. So if you ever feel like you're not making any progress or it's too much, like bro, I can assure you, as someone that has been in your position, you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. Just keep on trucking and get around other people that can support you and guide you and encourage you, because that also is very important. Very
100%.
important.
Um, Also, just one thing to bring up, I feel like we're kind of entering a new era in music. Like a lot of artists are speaking up about mental health
Oh man.
issues and writing a lot of music around mental health issues. Some artists that come to mind like Mana Leo, Megan Thee
Oh yeah.
Stallion, Lizzo,
Yep.
a lot of, and it's very interesting seeing a lot of female artists speak about mental health. And I
hmm
feel like oftentimes, at least from what I listen to,
hmm
I don't hear a lot of men speak up about mental health in music. I've only known like the 1-800 the suicide
Oh, this
song.
yeah,
I
my
can't think of
logic.
I can,
Everyone, it's like a meme at this
and
point because
it's
everyone
sad.
treats it like a meme. But I mean, there are a few artists that kind of have outside of
Yeah,
Logic, because I know he's a huge advocate
yeah,
for
one hundred percent.
mental health. I know on not the most recent album that he dropped, but the a year ago, when Tyler the Creator dropped Chromacopia, like he talked,
Okay.
he's actually been very vocal his past couple of projects, talking about like dealing with anxiety and like some of like the uncertainty and the expectations for him as a man,
Hmm.
to be a father, to be a family man. So like he's talked about like some of the issues like surrounding that, his paranoia,
Yeah,
especially like with being a prolific
yeah.
celebrity. Like I wouldn't, bro. If I was a celebrity, I would be
Yo,
like
I'm
on
sorry.
edge all the time. So like, I know he's one of them. I'm trying to think of anybody else that like I listen to.
Is that something that you'd want to see change?
Oh, absolutely. Like I feel like that's with how much we consume music on a daily basis, from reels to TikToks to YouTube shorts. Like your
Hmm.
music's in everything. So like
100%.
if more male artists would be willing to talk about that kind of stuff, I feel like it would encourage listeners to like just be okay, they're talking about it, and I guess presented in a way that's not corny, because like I feel like
Yeah,
that's always going to be an issue for people.
yeah.
But when you could advocate, like you're going to encourage other people to want to advocate for themselves and their mental health. So
100%. And I think that as a man that wears many hats, how do you, and as a fully functioning adult in this wonderful economy, wonderful, what's going on in the world, how do you maintain your mental health?
mhm.
And what advice do you have for people that want to learn how to maintain their mental health and keep it at like a a good level, as some might say?
Okay. Um, I would say personally for me, the really the main thing that helps really regulate and keep me in a good place mentally is praying and reading the Bible. Like if there's something that I don't understand, or like I want like a better understanding of, 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna either pray on it, read the Bible, do both, or just go into like a manic research session, because that's another thing about me. I'm a huge nerd, so like I'm always
He is a huge
researching.
nerd.
I'm always
Not gonna
looking for new
lie.
answers for stuff. Well, not new answers, but like a
More
greater
defined.
understanding.
Yeah.
So yeah, always gonna be Googling. That kind of like really helps, like, because the better you understand something, the less likely you are to question it. So that's one. Again, I love music. Real bad. So any opportunity that I get to just be in my car and drive around and just listen to music, yeah, I'm gonna do that 110%. Also spending like quality time with my village. Like man, if you know, you know. Because there's life be life and adulting is super ghetto right now.
Super ghetto.
Super ghetto. So like sometimes you just need to be around other people that are going through the same thing that you're going through, so you can vent about it. Because yeah, it's crazy out here, and sometimes we forget that we're not the only ones that's going through something.
Yeah.
So we can go to talk to other people that are going through the same thing. You're like, oh, okay, all right, we're on this together.
Yeah.
Literally, no High School Musical.
But also, it's really interesting because I feel like just how this is our first time being an adult. Like this is our very first time ever being an adult.
And what a time.
And what a time. And I feel like with adulting, we're allowed to make mistakes, but it's like you said, your village.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a village that supports you, I feel like those mistakes feel so small and they don't define you. Nothing, like your mistakes don't define who you are.
Right.
It's about how do you recover? How do you figure out, like, you know what? I made a mistake. I guess, you know what? I spent my money on I spent the money I was going to use on my light bill. I guess my lights will be off, but I know for next month I'm going to pay my light bill. So like, that's just like, it's about life. It's about like, every experience you gain a new perspective.
Right. 100%. And you're going to, I call this the trial and error period of my life. Like I'm just going to, because before, like if I knew, again, going back to the whole perfectionist thing, if I knew it was going to bring failure, or in my mind what I thought was failure, I'm just not going to do it. But now I'm just like, oh, okay. Like I'm almost like a little kid again. Like I'm just going to try it. And if I get knocked down, I'm just going to pick myself back up and try and figure out how to tackle it from a different angle.
100%.
So like, yeah, you just have to be willing to just get knocked down and get back up. Like you have to have some perseverance in this period of your life that we're in right now, because it's ghetto. It really is. But what can we do? What can we do?
100%. Just want to say, friend, to close everything up, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
I feel like you don't get your flowers enough sometimes. I feel like you're doing very well for yourself. I'm very proud of what the podcast has come since I've signed on in 2022, 2023. And like the fact that I've been able to sit side by side with you and watch your journey become this in-person thing that like now like we're getting social media influencers to want to come on and talk, and like we're getting like your friends to come and sit and have conversations. I think it's amazing. I'm very, like, when I mean that I'm very proud of you, like I'm very proud of you. And like even seeing that the man that you're becoming, I'm very, very, very proud. I think you're doing amazing. Don't ever forget that. I think that this is your baby, and it's going I believe in the power of manifestation. It's going to be successful.
Oh, it already is.
Will be. I mean, yeah, it already is. Clock it. It already is. It already is successful, but it's just gonna grow and grow and grow and grow. And I'm so happy to watch you take that journey of it growing and being there, whether it's as a spectator, whether it's as an executive producer. I'm just happy to be here. And I'm so like, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, like I'm so proud of you, friend, because I know, like, and as the audience members, you guys do not know how hard he works and how hard he overthinks this entire process all the time. And I have to hear him rant about it all the time.
I'm on, yeah.
But it's always within good spirit, and it's always within good care and good knowledge. And like, since I'm working on it with him, I am very hard on him because I know how bad he wants it. And I know how hungry he is for it.
No, for real.
So I be on his butt about like, edit this, edit that. Where's this person? Where are we shooting today? What are we doing this week? What are we doing that week? What does 2027 look like? Because I know that you're going to be very successful. And I want to push you to that limit. It might be a little annoying, friend. And it could come off very assholey, if I'm being very honest.
It's the intention behind it, though.
It's the intention that's like, I want my friend, like, and this is with any friend that I have. I want them to be successful at what they're doing. And I know that you want your podcast to be the best that it can be. If not what it's already at, to just expand on it more.
Yeah.
So I am going to be hard on you because I want you to be successful. The podcast is successful. And I just know it's going to grow each and every year.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I get to sit down and chat with you about it and get to hear your perspective. Because oftentimes you're interviewing everyone and nobody's really interviewing you and learning your backstory and learning why you did all this and why does this matter to you. So the fact that I, as your friend, get to sit here and chat with you, it's amazing. Again, so proud of you.
Thanks.
I have nothing but great words to say. I just cannot wait to see what this becomes in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Hopefully, not only will we be hosting our own panel, but like you would be hosting the panel. You would be sitting on the mental health panel.
Yeah.
And for that, I'm so, so proud.
Oh, thanks.
You're so welcome, friend. But to close out today's episode, make sure that you're following the King Sales on Instagram, TikTok. Do we have a Twitter? Twitter, YouTube. Make sure that you're following us on everything. That's how you stay up to date. And make sure that you're following both of us. Me at Keeping Up with Damani, and you can find Rex at the King Sales Podcast. But in all honesty, bye guys. See you next time on next week's episode. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Again, this has been Rex and Damani, the greatest executive producer on the planet. King's Tales, the podcast series where we help you transform trauma into triumph. This has been fun. This has been great. I don't know if y'all noticed it in my body language towards that end. But compliments start flying, I start getting uncomfortable. But I appreciate all of the kind words that you gave me, and this has been fun. It's different when you're the interviewee and not the interviewer. So I had a great time. But yeah, we will see you guys in 2026 when this launches. I got a lot of editing to do, so just pray for me.
Bye-bye. See you next time.